Today I want to talk about mine. This is an exploratory talk, perhaps, um, but it's been a topic. I've had a document on my computer desktop for months, just labeled mine, pulling out definitions and thoughts about it. And I would say the BBC is not much more formulated than that, but it's really the area of probing that came up for me again during retreat. I first became aware of the perniciousness of this thought, mine, years ago when Zopa was still living here and was in fact our office manager. Someone at that time donated to the Abbey a collection of hand-painted Italian teacups, mugs, very pretty cups, mugs, teacups. Remember, they were very, very pretty, really nice, really nice. You had one, you had one, you had one. Yours was yellowish. Jigme's lasted the longest. They were a bit fragile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mine was blue and had beautiful flowers, and each of the nuns had one, and there were only a handful of nuns. They were very, very nice. And I enjoyed it every time I drank tea. And as you know, I drank tea. At that time, I drank a lot more, believe it or not. And then one time in a paroxysm of renunciation, I decided that I was too attached to this cup. I have those paroxysms once in a while. And I put it back on the shelf. I'm not going to drink out of that cup. I went back to something ugly and ordinary. Well, it was there for the taking, and so Zopa took it. Rightfully so. Why not? It's there. And then I noticed every time I walked by her desk, I would see that cup and the thought, mine, would arise. I'd walk by there, mine. She's at the sink washing the cup, mine. And I began to get more interested in what is this mine than I was in the cup. Because truly I had pretty much given up the cup. I didn't actually want the cup, but the thought mine was really there. So, and then another kind of comparison, before I moved here, I got rid of almost everything, but there were a few things that I really loved that I thought, if it doesn't work out for me, I kind of want to have that back. So I gave them to my business partner and dearest friend, and I said, here, you keep the stuff, it's yours, but if I don't make it at the Abbey, I can come back and get the rug, okay? Cool. So I've been to that house, not many times since in all these years, but when I go to Susan and Paul's place and I see that rug or I see my mother's pot, I recognize that this was mine, but I don't have the same mine. Now, why is that? I've come to the conclusion that it's because with the cup, I gave it up. With the rug, I gave it away. Further, with the rug, I gave it to my friend. With the cup, I just gave it up, right? So this is a story on me doing the mandala offerings as a part of my retreat. So you're giving, and I'm seeing places where I don't want to give so much, or things I do want to give, or the days that I feel generous and the days I don't. And sometimes your little beads fall on the ground, and I'm sharing the room with Venerable Jigme. And at the end, we collect up our missing beads, right? So one day I watched a bead from my mother of amber bounce across the carpet into Venerable Jigme's territory. And I just watched it and kept going. At the end of the session, Venerable Jigme got up first. She gathered up all the beads in her part of the section and put them back in her thing. And I thought, mine. Now, I have already given Venerable Jigme one of those amber beads. I gave you 3. Oh, I gave you 3. Now you have, but she doesn't even know this, right? I've never told her this. I never told her. I didn't say anything. I'm just watching my mind. This is an experiment. Okay, how am I doing with mine? Well, exactly. In theory, I had already given it to the Buddha. It wasn't even mine. So it took another 2 days for me to remember that it's not mine already. I already gave it to the Buddha. And then it happened again with something even less important. It's like a really smooth tiger eye thing that I had admired it the day before. Oh, what a beautiful rock. Well, boom, now Venerable Jigme has it and doesn't know that she has it. And I'm saying, you are clinging mind to a rock? This is really, really a deep problem. Because what happens, I mean, if I'm clinging mind to a rock, how deeply am I clinging mind to this body? How deeply do we cling mind to my thought, my idea, my territory, my job? And, you know, I could see that within as I'm watching this mind thing, looking at how it played out in all the government stuff. My people, you know, you're mine because you look like me. You're mine because this is my government, or this is my idea of how government should be. And if you don't do it, then I'm going to take it over. You know, the mine that we grasp at. And, you know, we do a lot of talk in our Dharma study about I and the meditations on identifying the I. But identifying mine doesn't come up as often. It's there, but it doesn't come up as often. This is another aspect of the view of the personal identity, of clinging to I and mine. So I'm going to read from One Teacher, Many Traditions. The view of the personal identity, grasping I has both acquired and innate forms. The personal view of personal identity, grasping mine. So grasping I is, you know, upon seeing the aggregates, we grasp at the sense of I. The view of personal identity, grasping mine, arises in the relations to things that belong to us, especially the aggregates. It focuses only on the sense of mine, the feeling of mineness or ownership, and holds it to be inherently existent. So think about how much mine comes into the way we grasp at how the world should be, the way we grasp not just at our stuff, but at our conception of the view of the world that collides with the conception of somebody else's view of the world, and how out of that erupts many of our conflicts, our misunderstandings, and, you know, ultimately violence can easily arise from this. I wanted to look at this from a psychological point of view, just to see. Toddlers believe almost everything is theirs. This is from an early childhood development standpoint. While preschoolers begin to understand that certain items are theirs, items that are meaningful for them are viewed as extensions of themselves. This is grasping at mine. And this explains why they become territorial. They say children typically start sharing because adults around them tell them to. That it is not our natural instinct. Why? Because we are habituated to mine. Don't you get that image of mine? I don't know if maybe it's the mine. Oh, mine. When I get it, I get that creepy feeling. It's mine, grasping at mine. So, as I said, this is a sort of developmental thing. I'm really starting to pay attention to this more and more about how this grasping affects my interactions throughout the day. And then the acquired aspect of how we develop our sense of pride in our country, or our sense of pride in our school. I was on the drill team, man, we were the Tigers. You know, that sense of mine, I am part of that group. It's my bunch of folks. It's my tribe. We're all looking for my tribe. Who do I connect with? So some antidotes I think that are useful to begin to think about. One comes directly from the Buddha himself. Proper wisdom. So we train the mind train the mind in looking at all the ways we grasp at mind. And one of the proper wisdoms from the Buddha's teachings is to recognize this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. As a slogan with which to go through life and begin to identify when we feel that feeling of I come up, this is not mine. This is not this I am not. This is not myself. This is not an extension. This extension of myself is not an extension of myself. So that's one way to work with this. Another way, of course, is to look at how this relates to miserliness, how immediately out of that, this grasping at mind, clinging, becomes clinging, craving, looking at the miserliness that clings to ourselves, our physical things, as well as our conceptual things. And the practice of generosity and actually doing the mandala offering is a great way to keep looking at the places that I found that my mind gets stuck in being willing to share and recognizing that indeed, if I truly, every time we make an mandala offering, am offering this to the Buddha, then I have nothing. I have given it away. What do I need to do to train my mind to remember that I have already given it away? And the only person who can actually legitimately say this is mine about anything that is mine is the Buddha, because in theory, I have given it all to the Buddha. And the Buddha is not standing there saying mine, 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 mine. The Buddha is standing there saying, watch mine. Watch how you cling to mine. And then this under my understanding then of the practice of generosity deepens as I think about mine. Not just the generosity of physical things, but how freely do I give my love? How freely do I give protection? How freely do I give the Dharma? And if I am aware that there is nothing mine that I'm holding on to, then that generosity really becomes a true act of generosity coming from a selfless heart. So these are just my thoughts and kind of meanderings on the topic of mind. This is where I'll be studying this year, focusing on how that relates to grasping at I, certainly at how that is immediately the source of the self-centered thought that wants my pleasure, thank you very much, my praise, thank you very much, my reputation is very, very, very important, and all of the things that I cling to. So many. We cling to so many things. We cling to everything. Different degrees of clinging. Mine. So enjoy the letting go.
So just remember, the more things that you say are mine, the more problems you have, because then you have to fix everything that is mine. Yeah? And you get more upset when yours isn't the best and somebody else has better, or when what you regard as mine disappears or is stolen or breaks. So mine is a setup for a lot of pain.